Magic. Is it real? Is it not real? We'll be figuring that out today. Now, magic, by definition, or the definition that I have come up with, is that magic is simply energy in the world around us that is manipulated to create causality. Let me say that again. Magic is nothing more than energy in the world around us that's manipulated to create causality. The energy already exists, but through ritual and word, we are able to manipulate the energy to create things to happen in this world. Now, I don't mean spirits. That's something entirely different. What I mean is more like electricity. It's there, it's in the atmosphere, it can be drawn down. But with the right tools, and with the right words, and with the right rituals, that magic can then be created, can be used, to create events. Putting together objects like earth, air, water, and fire to create energy is a way of doing it. Now, I have never seen magic work instantaneously, but I have seen long term consequences of magic. Magic is in every society, whether it's the West African societies with hoodoo or voodoo, or whether it's the Western European societies with whatever the magic is there. There is always going to be magic in society. Now, the reason for this is because people want to have control over their fate. They want to control their lives in areas that they don't necessarily feel that they have control in. Now, the kind of magic that I perform is divination. Divination is the art of seeing the future. Now, how I divine is through something called lithomancy. Lithomancy is the art of seeing through stones. Now, when you cast stones in a circle, the stones that stay in the circle or produce patterns in the circle give you the answer to the future. Now, the way that I do it is I have my symbols written on a cloth. I then place a circle of rope around the symbols, and then I cast the stones onto the cloth. Wherever the stones fall on the cloth, onto the symbols, is the answer. That is a form of lithomancy that I have developed. Lithomancy has been around for hundreds of thousands of years. The mythical origins of lithomancy are related to the god Apollo, where he gave a seeing stone to a seeress, who would then screech or shout, and they would determine the answers to the questions through the screeching and shouting of the stone. Another example of lithomancy being used hundreds of thousands of years ago was to predict the fall of Troy. Now, the god Apollo is linked with prophecy, but he's more associated with the Pythia. The Pythia were ancient witches and sorceresses that would sit in a crack in the earth, and then through divine trance and revelation, they would come to their prophecies. Now, there's other kinds of divination, which is a divination by saints. Now, the saints don't necessarily have to be the saints that me and you know in Catholicism. The saints could very well be something else masquerading themselves as saints. This is called syncretism. And the idea is that what the saint represents to the believer is what it is. They are simply masks over the real spirit. There are traditions that practice this sort of synchronism. For example, Alicia Dontor in Voodoo is sometimes portrayed as the Virgin Mary. Magic is considered one of the oldest religions in Buddhist texts. In the Karma Sutra, magic is encouraged to be performed amongst couples to strengthen their relationships. A world of magic is very hard to traverse, for depending on the practitioner, the truth behind their magic is going to be different. Because everyone is their own witch or wizard, and therefore has their own practice. Their own practices then contribute to the society as a whole or for individual desires. Now, sorry, the anthropological definition of a witch is someone who goes out to cause harm in a society. There was an archaeologist that was in Ghana, and she was being called a witch by the Ghanans. When she discovered why, it was because her and her crew had left thousands and thousands of plastic bottles in garbage bags that were then tossed in a local landfill, causing harm to the society around her. This is a Christianized definition of what a witch is. Christians would have you believe wholeheartedly that a witch is someone who's out there to do wrong to the society that they're born in. But historically, witches and wizards, warlocks and shamans are all there to provide their services to the society that they live in. Ancient societies were filled with witches and wizards. Ancient societies were filled with prophetesses and shamans, all there in order to help the society that they lived in. Magic has been found in archaeological finds in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, whether it was to bind charioteer drivers' horses so that they would no longer move, or whether it was to curse someone for greed or jealousy or whatever it was. Magic was always there. In fact, ancient Christians were so believing in magic that they portrayed their Messiah as a wizard. You see, without magic, the world of religion does not make sense. For it's only through supernatural means and the processes of supernatural means that a Messiah figure can rise. Miraculous signs done by human hands, attributed to gods and goddesses of old, are really acts of magic. This ancient religion, which is warned against in many texts, is really the human mind and spirit trying to gain control over their lives. Now, every witch or wizard has their own practice, which I have said before, and I will now divulge what my practice is to you. I believe there are 9 elements. These 9 elements produce energy. This energy can be manipulated in magical rites. I believe in divination, that the words of the gods can be spoken through stone or through trance. I believe there are 9 elements, and these 9 elements are earth, air, water, fire, the sun, the moon, male, female, and lightning. These elements, which produce energy, are responsible not only for magic, but also for creation as a whole. See, without the sun and the moon, we would not have tides. Without tides, the very building blocks of life would not have been pushed together. Without lightning, piezoelectricity, or lightning from the sky, science has not determined which one it is, those elements would not have been able to bind together to create life as we know it today. If you follow this path, my path, you are linking yourself to the very beginning of creation. and through its processes, you are binding yourself to those 9 elements.